Welcome to the Bookworm Duo, where we explore a variety of books. Let's get started. Today we're diving into something really quite special. It's this fantastic collection all about pubs. The authors call the pub the greatest living tradition that Britain and Ireland have to behold. And this book, it's like a huge cultural exploration.
It really is. It was sort of the ultimate guide, you could say. The editors felt there was this gaping hole in our national literary output. Basically, nobody had properly documented the pub in, well, all its forms.
All its forms meaning?
Oh, everything. Ancient inns, modern bars, fictional pubs from literature, the ones tourists flock to, and crucially, even the really quite depressing ones. They visited those, so, as they put it, you never, ever have to.
That's some dedication. And that commitment, it starts right at the beginning, doesn't it? Even before chapter 1.
Oh, absolutely. The foreword. It's quite something. To get the perfect opener for a book about the British boozer, they apparently spent a whole year talking to psychic mediums in Soho.
Psychic mediums. Seriously. For a book forward. Seriously. And the result, they claim it's a foreword written by the ghost of Dame Barbara Windsor. Peggy Mitchell herself.
You're kidding! That's amazing! So what wisdom does the ghost of Babs impart?
Well, she gets straight to the point. No messing about. She reveals her big takeaway from the afterlife is that she never liked that Kenneth Williams said he laid it on a bit too thick.
Classic. Straight talking even from the beyond.
Pretty much. And then she just signs off with, "I'm fading now. Buy the book and enjoy it."
Perfect. Sets the tone, doesn't it? Affectionate, a bit cheeky, deeply British.
Exactly. And it highlights how central these places are, despite everything thrown at them over the years. Temperance, gentrification, you name it. So maybe we should start our tour at one of the most unlikely spots for a pub.
Okay, yeah. Let's jump to what the book calls Nobody's Local. This is the Hope and Champion. And it's unique because it's the UK's only pub located inside a motorway service station. Beaconsfield Services, M40. Right, the only one. And just having it there is interesting because selling booze at service stations, well, it was illegal for a long time. First between 1961 and 94, and then again briefly from 2008 to 2013. Concerns about drink driving, obviously.
But as soon as that latest ban lifted, Wetherspoons swooped in, Sir Timothy Randall Martin, the founder. And the design choices,
Right.
They're something else.
They really are. He went for this very deliberate, almost over-the-top Regency style, like something out of Jane Austen.
Pride and Prejudice next to the petrol pumps.
Exactly. You've got this grand decor, chandeliers probably,
Yeah.
right next to massive lorries idling outside, diesel fumes, 24-hour slot machines blinking away. And the walls apparently have quotes from Benjamin Disraeli alternating with big, "Think, don't drink and drive" warnings.
That juxtaposition is just wild. Is it meant to be ironic or comforting or what?
Well, the writers seem to find it sort of fascinatingly functional. They called it the platonic ideal of Wetherspoons. Because it has to be a gathering place for people who literally can't gather anywhere else at that moment.
Yeah.
Commuters, long-distance travelers, even some locals popping in.
So it ends up being this common ground precisely because it's not really anyone's specific local patch.
Yeah, exactly. It's nobody's local, which kind of makes it everybody's temporary local.
Yeah.
An invented space, almost. Speaks volumes about modern life, maybe.
That idea of enforced tradition in a transient space is brilliant. Okay, the book also has these fun little asides, judging famous people as drinking buddies.
Ah, yes. Drinking with the greats. It runs throughout the book. Should we dip into the first batch?
Let's, first up, Winston Churchill.
Verdict. Yes, but only once.
Huh?
Mainly for the champagne he'd probably supply.
Fair enough. How about John Lennon?
That's a hard no. Categorically not. Apparently too intense.
Okay. But Sir Paul McCartney?
Oh, definitely yes for McCartney. Though they add a little note. If you mentioned having a pint with Lennon, McCartney would insist he did it first.
Sounds about right. Any absolute must-haves.
David Bowie. 100% yes.
Yeah.
But the condition is you have to bring red peppers and milk.
Red peppers and milk. Okay, and Freddie Mercury?
Fred is a yes too. Fantastic, apparently, but he has to bring Dwarves and Kenny Everett.
Right, then. And finally, Tony Blair.
The book doesn't hold back here. It just says, we're not even going to dignify this with a response.
Ouch! A political statement via pub companion choice. Okay, so from the modern motorway paradox, let's jump across the water to Dublin and look at how pubs there have changed.
Absolutely. Because the image many people have of the Irish pub, you know, the singing, the craic, welcoming everyone, that's actually quite a recent thing, mostly from the 1970s onwards.
Really? What were they like before then?
Well, much more reserved. Often low, dark, secretive establishments. very much male domains. Singing was often frowned upon, women weren't really welcome in the main bar, and they even used to paint the windows with this thick fog-colored paint so you couldn't see in.
Wow, completely different vibe. And the rules around women? There's that story about the pint of Guinness.
Oh, it's brilliant. A woman orders a pint, gets served, and the barman suddenly spots her. He apparently grabs the pint back, horrified, and says something like, "Jesus, you're a woman. You can't be drinking a pint."
He actually took it back, so she couldn't have it.
Well, here's the twist. She asks if she could have 2 half-pints instead, and he's perfectly happy with that. Pours the pint into 2 half-pint glasses, hands them over. Job done. Letter of the law, you see.
That's just absurdly brilliant. And the separation extended to the physical space too, right? The snug.
Yes, the snug. Places like Ryan's of Parkgate Street had them. It's this small enclosed wooden booth, almost like a confessional box. Women usually had to be with a man, stay quiet, not laugh too loud. The publican would even peek through the service hatch to check on their doings and possible undoings.
Good grief. So fast forward to today, and you've got this tension in Dublin, haven't you? Between what tourists want and what locals see as authentic.
Huge tension. Tourists come looking for the crack, that lively, perhaps slightly romanticized atmosphere. But for many Dubliners, authenticity means something else entirely. They'll actively avoid places with ATMs inside, for instance. And somewhere like Temple Bar is often dismissed as Disneyland for visiting drinkers.
Yeah.
Pure hyper-reality.
And the locals feel it's their right to be a bit hostile to the cheesy tourist spots.
Pretty much. But the book makes a fair point, too. While locals might sniff at the hyper-reality, it's probably a good thing that the old ways, like the blatant sexism, which was only formally outlawed in 2000, are gone.
Yeah.
You keep the nice red facade, maybe some of the music, but ditch the worst of the old traditions. It's a constant balancing act.
Which leads nicely into the whole idea of pub etiquette in general back in Britain, these unwritten rules.
Ah, yes. Crucial stuff. The book explains it's a high-trust environment. Rule number 1. Queuing at the bar is generally non-you, not the done thing.
So no orderly line. How does that work?
The bartender is just expected to know who's next. They keep a mental tally. It relies on everyone being, well, reasonably fair and the bartender being observant.
Okay, I can see how that might work. Or spectacularly fail. That's the most important rule.
The round. Definitely the round. It's sacred. If you're in a group, you take turns buying drinks for everyone. Trying to sneak off and hide when it's your turn is considered unforgivable. You have to clearly state if you're in the round or out.
Right. Got it. And tipping.
Generally not really customary in pubs, unlike, say, cocktail bars. Maybe round up the change or offered by the bartender a drink later, perhaps, but not like U.S.-style percentage tipping.
Good to know. The book also touches on the sheer geographical spread of pubs, right? The extremes.
Yeah, the cardinal inns. They mentioned the Balta Light up in Shetland, most northerly pub in the UK. Apparently, it's closer to Oslo than it is to Glasgow.
Wow. And the most easterly.
That'd be the Royal Falcon in Lowestoft, Suffolk. Look out from there, and the next stop is basically the Netherlands.
Incredible range. But beyond the extremes, it's the community hubs that really matter, isn't it? Like the Laurie Aston in Glasgow.
Oh, the Laurie Aston sounds amazing. Run by the Clancy family since '82. It's like stepping back in time, perfectly preserved 1960s interior.
Yeah.
Strictly cash only. It's so atmospheric, it was even used as a location in the TV show Succession.
Cash only.
Oh.
Proper old school.
Totally. But there's that recurring fear. The Clancy brothers who run it are in their 80s now, and when the book was written, they were thinking of selling. And the regulars were terrified, naturally, worried it would be bought by developers, turned into flats, or just gutted and lose its soul. It's the big threat hanging over so many beloved local pubs.
That fear of change is palpable. Okay, let's shift focus again, maybe to London and the queer pub scene. How identity is reflected and changes there.
Yeah, it's a fascinating section. It shows how things are evolving with issues of ownership and even technology changing the dynamic. You get contrasts like the city of Quebec, which is historically significant but now chain-owned, apparently has straight staff, and plays Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran in a historic queer pub.
Ooh, right. And then you compare that to somewhere like the Divine, which is proudly queer-owned, the successor to the legendary club The Glory, and ironically, it's now housed in a building that used to be a brewdog.
Huh. The independent reclaiming the corporate space. Nice bit of irony there.
Exactly. And then there's the whole impact of dating apps like Grindr. The writer mentions being in Compton's in Soho, a famous cruising pub, and seeing guys on Grindr looking at profiles listed as 0 meters away.
Meaning the person was literally in the same bar.
Yep. Using an app to cruise someone they could probably just walk over and talk to. The digital and physical spaces have completely merged or blurred, depending on how you look at it.
That's a very modern twist. And the book mentions some more extreme examples, too.
Oh, yeah. It notes the basement of the Lord Clyde, named after some old military figure, but downstairs apparently features a, quote, very adult soft play area, complete with lockable prison cages and sling setups. So, pubs cater to a very wide range of social interactions.
Okay, swinging wildly back from that, let's talk about the countryside pub ideal, avoiding the cliches.
Right. The book highlights places that feel real, not like something out of a Richard Curtis movie. And the star here has to be Mabel Mudge.
Tell us about Mabel.
Incredible story. She ran the Drew Arms in Devon for 75 years, from 1919 all the way to 1994. She served beer straight from the cask, passed through a little hatch, right up until she retired at age 99.
99? That's astonishing tenure.
Isn't it? And that pub meant so much that when it was threatened with closure after she left, the local villagers rallied round and raised over £500,000, $550K, to buy it and save it.
That's real community power. But that contrasts sharply with some other countryside places, doesn't it?
It does. The book mentions The Bell in Charlbury in the Cotswolds, owned by Lady Carole Bamford. Apparently it's so chic and curated with his own sort of anti-pub aesthetic that it feels less like a pub and more like a softly enforced members club.
So again, that tension between genuine community space and something more exclusive or designed.
Exactly. It runs right through the book. Now, are you ready for maybe the best bit of myth-busting in the whole collection?
Ooh, yes. Lay it on me.
It's about the Philharmonic dining rooms in Liverpool. Famous, world famous even, for its men's toilets.
The urinals, right. Supposedly incredible Victorian marble masterpieces, so grand that women are sometimes allowed in to have a look.
That's the legend. Peak Victorian pub extravagance. Fluted pillars, ornate designs, all gleaming marble.
So what's the truth?
The glorious truth, revealed by an architectural expert in the book, they're not marble.
No.
Nope. They are ceramic, pink imitation marble, to be precise. The expert calls it magnificent fakery, and that distinctive aroma people associate with authentic old pubs. Probably just leaky old pipes, not the scent of history.
That is fantastic. The world-famous marble urinals are ceramic fakes.
Yeah.
And everyone just accepts the fiction.
Pretty much. As the locals apparently say about potentially disillusioned visitors, she must never know the truth. The shared belief is the authenticity.
The power of shared fiction again. Brilliant. Okay, next up, an attempt to actually live out a piece of pub history, recreating a legendary pub crawl.
Yes, the writer tries to follow in the footsteps of Tom Baker, the fourth Doctor Who, on one of his notoriously epic Soho drinking sessions from 1978.
How did Baker signal he was on a multi-day bender?
His key accessory was a toothbrush, visibly sticking out of his breast pocket. That was the sign he wasn't planning on going home anytime soon.
Okay, so the writer gets the toothbrush. How does the crawl go?
Well, it hits problems immediately. Baker's day started early, but nowadays most Soho pubs don't even open before midday. The timing's all wrong. And Baker's pace was relentless, apparently involving 3 pints plus calf's liver and bacon for lunch by 1 p.m.
That's ambitious. Did the writer keep up?
Not even close. They managed some drinks, but the whole rhythm is impossible to replicate. They end up calling it quits around 10 p.m., admitting defeat. It's less about a lack of drinking stamina and more a reflection of how much Soho, licensing laws, and work culture have changed. You just can't do a 1978 Tom Baker pub crawl anymore.
A cultural barometer measured in pints not consumed. Fascinating. Okay, finally, let's touch on pubs surviving in really difficult circumstances, thinking about Belfast.
Right. The book looks at the legacy of the Troubles. Back then, many Belfast pubs had these security cages at the entrance.
Like an airlock.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Described as pub purgatory. You went in, the outer door locked, you were screened, presumably for weapons, and only then would the inner door be opened to let you into the actual pub. A grim necessity against paramilitary attacks.
Horrifying to think about. Do any still exist?
Well, the Sunflower Pub in Belfast has deliberately kept its cage, not for security now, but as a relic of our social history. It's a symbol of how the city's changing, and they see themselves as resisting the sort of bland gentrification that threatens them, developers wanting to knock it down for luxury flats. They're holding onto their history, cage and all, as a mark of authenticity and survival.
Keeping the cage as a statement, that's powerful. It feels like a good place to sort of bring things together.
I think so, because whether it's a motorway service station pub, an imitation marble urinal, a carefully preserved 60s relic, or a bar keeping its Troubles-era cage, The common thread is the pub as a space for people to come together. The book calls it a theater of dissent, which I like, but it's also just a vital place to connect.
And that idea of authenticity seems so fluid throughout the book. It's not always about age or original features, is it?
Not at all. Often it seems like authenticity is just whatever the people inside agree it is. It's the shared experience, the shared story, sometimes even the shared fiction, like the marble urinals that makes a place feel real and important.
So maybe the final thought for you listening is, what makes your logo feel authentic? Is it the history, the people, the stories you share there? What's the fiction you all agree on? Thanks for joining us. Subscribe for more bookish adventures and hit that like button if you enjoyed the ride. Don't forget to share the knowledge, spread the word.